Lightning. Lightning never strikes twice, they say, let alone 3 times. But history remembers 3 Fatimas, and they all revolve around Imam Ali. One cracked open the house of God to give birth to him. The second tore apart the heavens to place 11 stars between his palms. While the third is often forgotten, and for many she is a shadow of her husband and sons. But the reality is that she's far from it. In fact, had Ali traveled horizons far and wide, tiptoed through stars, slept on clouds, followed every map and chart, climbed all hills and mountainsides, all terrains, he would find nothing like the surface of her heart. It was one of a kind, and he fell into it like a never-ending well, and in this well he would throw in his wishes and express the anguish he couldn't tell, giving a voice to his burdened heart. She was a dreamer's lair for his tattered soul. Even though she knew he could never again be whole, yet she worked to fix the broken pieces. But he would tell her time and time again, the biggest piece is not yet broken, as he would look at his son Hoseine. He would reminisce and tell her stories about himself, about each scar and wound, and how battle after battle there would be an army between the enemy and his master Muhammad. And he would always reiterate, this army was me, because no soul was more worthy of sacrifice for him but me. But who would do the same for Hoseine on that day? A day he would look around him to see his loved ones scattered like the leaves of autumn, the grandson of Muhammad all but forgotten. The day where angels will offer their wings to place between his gushing wounds. And Hoseine will tell them no, because he would remember me. If only I could be there, a mountain for him, a moon to his darkness. So it was only a matter of time that Ali's wishes were to be answered by Ummul Baneen. As he looked down upon this child where both happiness and sadness were manifested. And he would kiss this child's hands as if the whole world and all its riches were placed between those tiny fingers. And he would stare into his eyes as if the whole galaxy in them lingered, as if they were 2 shrines in which he would visit time and time again. From one eye to the other, Bainul Haramain. And he would say, the moon I was to Muhammad's son, so how can 2 moons together exist? And he grew up as just this, the pride of the house of Ali. Yet he knelt before the sons of Fatima, draping his cape, a moon in total eclipse. And he did not need his father's double-edged sword to be great, for his double helix DNA moved him like the shadow of Ali in battle, and raised him like a moon in the cascades of darkness. So much so he was called the Hashemite moon, Qamar Bani Hashim. But his greatness was not molded by his immense presence, but rather the teachings of this one woman who would nurture a mountain to kneel before his master. That even when he reaches the peak of greatness where no man can meet him eye to eye, he would still drop his eyes momentarily at the sounds of the footsteps of Hoseine. And for that reason, even when the arrows took his vision that day, it made no difference. Because he saw his master beyond vision, felt his pains and worries with such precision, that's what was sad on that day and painful when Abu Abdullah held his head, lowered his chest and held his dying head. It was as if Abbas did not recognize him. Not because he couldn't see him, but because it was the first time he felt Hoseine's heart race uncontrollably. And at that exact moment he knew that was the first time his brother felt armorless, felt visible to a world where Abbas was his shield, And now light to the darkness is revealed. And that was the importance of Abbas, a prince born to serve. So when he was sent for water, he would either return 2 hands full or no hands at all. He would either return 2 hands full or no hands at all. For that was the school of Ummul Baneen, the school of love, loyalty and servitude, because she knew the value of Hoseine. She knew the value of Hoseine, a value that has no earthly equivalent. So nothing on earth would stop her sacrificing all 4 of her sons for him. History remembers 3 Fatimas. One cracked open the house of God to give birth to him. The second tore apart the heavens to place 11 stars between his palms, kings with a never-ending reign. While the third only had the earth and mortality to carve, and with it she raised 4 mountains beyond clouds, and told them to collapse if needed be in the name, and to collapse if needed be into dust in the name of Ali's beloved. And that's why when we remember Hoseine, we remember Abbas, and when we remember Abbas, we remember Ummul Baneen, wa aflaha man salla ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.